Good afternoon. I would like to thank the organizing committee for giving us the chance to present. This is our third year here in the Cell and Gene meeting on the mesa, and the second time we're presenting. So we're very happy to give us an update. So I'm Roberto Bobadilla. I'm the CEO of Cell4Cells. Just to give you an overview, Cell4Cells is a Chilean biotechnological company. We were founded in 2010. We are engaged on research, development, and commercialization of cell therapy in the aim of regenerative medicine and tissue engineering. Our mission, basically, is focused, as I mentioned, on research and development, but also on commercialization of innovative cell therapies with high standards of scientific, technological, and international quality. And we are committed on the impact on the health and people quality of life. So briefly, to give you an overview of the figures and facts of Cell4Cells, as I mentioned, was founded in 2010. We're 100% private. We're settled in Santiago de Chile. So far, in 3 rounds, we have raised $20 million in these 8 years' time. In terms of our employees, we are 35. Half of them are women. 1/3 have a Ph.D. So we have a strong research and development group. In terms of intellectual property, we have 14 inventions so far, 31 international patent applications, 2 of them already granted in Europe. And we forecast that we will have some more granted patents in the short period of time. Concerning our facilities, we have a unique, in South America, CGMP compliant lab. We have about 4,000 square foot facilities, including research and production labs. We have a non-specific pathogenic-free facility that is also unique in South America. As I mentioned, we are CGMP compliant, and we have also a certification for quality management. And in terms of clinical trials, we have done so far 2 completed clinical trials, phase 1/2, in Chile. We have 3 more ongoing clinical trials. We have 2 commercial products right now that are being commercialized in South America, in Chile and some other countries of South America. And besides the patients treated so far within the clinical trials, we have more than 180 patients treated. So we have also a very robust, I would say, and powerful pipeline. We have divided in 2 main aspects. So the first one is cell therapy. So we have a product that I will talk a little bit more later, which is CellStem. We have done clinical trials, as I mentioned, phase 2 clinical trials in Chile for 2 indications. One is heart failure, and the other one is osteoarthritis, specifically knee osteoarthritis. And we're currently doing some other clinical trials for regenerative dental pulp and also for lupus erythematosus systemic, which is not exactly here. And we also are exploring different approaches for different therapeutic approaches, including exosomes and tissue engineering. As well, we have some other technologies which are that we have developed in the frame of these clinical trials and cell therapy developments. One is a cell migration device, and we also have a manufacturer of vascular grafts that I will not talk in this presentation. I will just mainly focus on the heart failure and osteoarthritis finished clinical trials and on the inker, which is a biocompatible bioink for organ printing. So concerning our main cellular product, CellStem is an allogeneic mesenchymal stem cell product. It's based on umbilical cord tissue. It's a specific subpopulation that we isolate and expand in our CGMP compliant labs. And it has unique characteristics for the treatment of degenerative diseases. The first indication that we developed, and we went back to 2006, we started doing some autologous and directly injections to the heart for heart failure treatment of patients. But then we move to a more practical, let's say, simple and scalable cell therapy for heart failure, which is intravenous injected and allogeneic. So as you may know, heart failure, in simple terms, is the heart's inability to pump blood with normal efficiency. It's one of the leading causes of death in the world. It's a high prevalence disease. And we developed Celestem, and this is IC stands for heart failure in Spanish. So it's insuficiencia cardíaca. So basically, this allogeneic cell therapy is administered, as I mentioned, intravenously. It's done on refractory patients on an ambulatory basis, so it's not invasive. And it resulted, as I'm summarizing in this graph, the follow-up of a group of placebo-treated. This is a phase 1/2 randomized, double-blind clinical trial. And we did the follow-up and placebo control study. We did the follow-up of the patients at 3, 6, and 12 months. I'm showing you the ventricular ejection fraction percentage. And as you can see at 3, 6, and 12 months, you can see an increment in the ventricular ejection fraction, particularly in the group treated with Celestem IC. So this study was published last year on September in Circulation Research. We got a very good feedback from the American Cardiologist Association. And the study basically, or the editorial of this particular issue of Circulation Research showed that this is a simple, scalable, easy adoptable, and affordable way of treating patients for heart failure. Based on the success of this application or indication, we move forward to different indications as heart failure. And we did the first Latin American clinical trial, again, a phase 1/2 double-blind randomized study. In this case, it was not placebo-controlled. We used an active comparator, which was we select hyaluronic acid, which is something what is I can't say this is the gold standard, but it's something used for knee osteoarthritis. As you may know also, osteoarthritis is basically a high prevalence chronic inflammation of the joints. It's produced mainly by cartilage damage, among other factors. And we developed the Celestem OA for osteoarthritis. Again, allogeneic cell therapy based on this subpopulation of the umbilical cord tissue, which is expanded. As I told you, it's the first Latin American study. And I have a video to show you, so hope it. So basically, the osteoarthritis affect the different joints. The high prevalence is the knee, at least in Latin America. I think in the US it's the hand, but the knee is the second one at least. So mainly it causes inflammation, pain, rigidity, and loss of function. So what we think about this, and based on our previous safety data on heart failure, we decided to do a study based on the same product, which is Celestem. As I mentioned, it is produced by mesenchymal stem cells of the umbilical cord tissue. So these are produced in our cGMP compliant. This is our labs that we have in Santiago, which are unique in Latin America, cGMP compliant. We follow the highest standards of production for our cell therapy. And within the study was a 3 ml infiltration directly in the knee, intra-articular infiltration. We can use it also as 1 ml for chondral defect, but that was not the study. So the injection of the cells in the knee against the active comparator, which was hyaluronic acid, showed a higher pain relief, dysfunction reduction, and most interesting, 100% of patients were responsive to the cell therapy compared to the hyaluronic acid treatment. So we were very happy on the results of this clinical trial. And we, based on the regulatory framework that we have now in Latin America, and particularly in Chile, on advanced therapies, we are allowed to commercialize this. So we are now going to market, basically doing the diffusion publication. As I mentioned, the heart failure was published last year. The osteoarthritis is in press right now. So we're doing the diffusion of our results. We're following up all patients we have treated. I mentioned 180 patients in Chile and other parts of Latin America. So we're doing the follow-up of every patient we treat. We have this quality management certification, as I mentioned to you. We're now building a clinical network. Actually, we're expanding our clinical network. So in Santiago, at least, there are 20 sites where our CellStem is applied. But we still know that we have tested only preliminary efficacy. We need to go for further studies. So we did a pre-IND meeting with the FDA recently for heart failure, and we will do for osteoarthritis. And we're planning to perform phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trials in Latin America and US. And within our pipeline, as I mentioned, besides the cell therapy and the results I've showed to you, we have some other technologies. We're looking for additional or different approaches, therapeutic approaches. So one of them is related to tissue engineering. So it's called InCure. Just briefly, we found that, for instance, in terms of osteoarticular defects or chondral defect, we need a scaffold and a matrix to treat this disease. So one of the options we have found is the development of a bioink for 3D printing, which is based on gelatin. Mainly, the products that used are porcine or bovine gelatins. We decided to make something different, and we isolate gelatin from cold-adapted fish. We chemically functionalize this gelatin to make a product out of it, and functionalize in a way that can be printed with light. So with the InCure, we can make amino acid gelatin hydrogels that can be printed. And we test this not only for, well, 90% I would say of the 3D bioprinting is based on extrusion systems, but also it's interesting to see droplet-based bioprinting. So of course we did some 3D bioprinting with extrusion with InCure, which were very successful, but we were also looking for droplet-based because this is what we think will come in the future, higher precision and resolution 3D bioprinting that can help some applications of cell therapy. So basically the advantages of our product of InCure, it is a well-standardized product because we isolate it. It has specific molecular weight. There are some other products in the market that are not as specific as InCure. It has superior mechanical properties based on this standardization. Basically, the optimized viscosity in solution. Most of the gelatin, as I mentioned, are bovine or porcine that are solid and, at room temperature. So you need to warm them up to make 3D printing. In this case, since it's liquid at room temperature, you can directly print with these compounds. And this allows homogeneous microdroplet formation. That means little drops that you can do by droplet-based printing for high-precision 3D. So it's a complementary technology to the ones that we have developed so far. So in the last minute, I would like to summarize everything and say that Cells for Cells is a Chilean company that is working mainly on cell therapy. It has some indications, already it's commercializing, looking for partnership and out-licensing. It has also done some work on complementary technologies. And well, since the cell and gene meeting is almost finished, we can say that we accomplished some of our goals that basically were start talking about our licensing and also looking for collaborative development. So I would like to thank you very much for your attention.